history is full of the real-life stories of Veeranganas. These brave warriors played their roles in the different aspects of Bharati history. Today, we are going to hear a true life story of Rani Velu Nachayar, the Queen of Sivganga by Punamahendru. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I will tell you about one of the famous Veeranganas of Indian history, Rani Velu Nachayar. She was the queen of Sivganga and was the only daughter of King of Ramanad. She was the first woman freedom fighter who fought against Britishers for the freedom of our country, India. And that's why she was famously called as Veeramangai by Tamils, which means a brave woman. She was a scholar in many languages, but mainly she was proficient in English, Urdu, and French. She was also trained in archery, horse riding, and martial arts. In 2008, a commemorative postage stamp was released in her name. Professor AIL, a Tamil American hip hop star, also released a song in her name entitled Our Queen. And in present age also, a lot of dance performances and drama and theatre is performed on the life of our Veeramangai, that is our brave queen, depicting her life history. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from her. She truly personifies the courage and inspiration. I salute Rani Veeramangai. She is the symbol of nobility and goodness. Thank you so much.
Namaste. During the period of British invasion, Bharatiya people had to go through injustice. They were being treated like slaves. So many women warriors came forward to fight against the British. Rani Kittur Chennamma was one of them. Let's hear more about her life from Konika Sharma. Thank you.
Hello children.
Hello.
Today I'm going to tell you about a Veerangana.
Veerangana?
Veerangana is the Hindi language word for a lady warrior. The lady warrior that I'm going to tell you about today is Rani Kittur Chennamma.
Rani?
Yes. Rani is the Hindi language word for queen and Kittur is the place she belonged to.
Can you tell us more?
For sure. Rani Kittur Chennamma was born in the village of Kittur, which is situated in the district Belagavi of the state Karnataka.
When was she born?
She was born on October 23rd, 1778.
What did she excel in?
She was trained in archery, sword fighting and horse riding. At the age of 15 years, she got married to Mallas Raj Desai, who was the ruler of Kittur.
That young?
Yes, in those days, girls used to get married around that age. But in 1816, Mallas Raj died and soon after in 1824, her son also died.
That's so sad.
Yes. Now for the welfare of her people, Rani Kittur adopted a boy Shivalingappa and named him heir to the throne of Kittur so that he can succeed after her. As you know, India was under the rule of Britain's East India Company at that time. Governor-General Lord Dalhousie introduced doctrine of lapse at that time.
Doctrine of lapse?
Yes. Doctrine of lapse was a kind of law which stated that if a ruler, like a king, dies without leaving a natural heir to the throne, their state will be taken over by British government.
What happened to Shivalingappa?
Yes. Shivalingappa was adopted. He was not the natural heir to the throne. So this doctrine of lapse was not acceptable to Rani because that meant that Shivalingappa could not take over Kittur after her.
What happened to Rani?
British forces attacked Kittur with 20,000 men.
20,000 men?
Yes, Rani Chennamma fought bravely and she won the first round.
Wow!
After the first round, 2 British officers were taken hostages, but they were later released because British government promised Rani Chennamma that they will not attack Kittur again.
It's not true.
Yes, it's not true because British forces attacked again, but this time Rani Chennamma lost. You know why?
Why?
Because she was betrayed by her own people. Her own people mixed cow dung with the gunpowder, and this resulted in her defeat.
That's not fair.
Rani Chennamma was captured and imprisoned by British forces. In imprisonment, she spent her time reading holy books. Rani Chennamma died on February 21st, 1829. In her memory, Kittur celebrates Kittur Utsav from October 22nd to October 24th every year. In her memory, 3 statues have been placed in Indian Parliament Complex, Bengaluru and Kittur.
That's great.
I hope you learned about a Veerangana today, Rani Kittur Chennamma. Did you have fun?
Yes, I did.
Namaste. Talking about Veeranganas, today I recall Rani Lakshmibai. She was a great warrior. She was the first warrior who started war against British terrorism. Let's hear more about her life and achievements. Dhanyavad. Today, I'm going to tell you about a real life story of an Indian Veerangana, Rani Lakshmibai.
Veerangana Rani Lakshmibai? I really want to hear her life story.
Rani Lakshmibai's childhood name was Manikarnika. Her loved one used to call her Manu. She was born on November 19, 1828 in Varanasi, India. Her parents were Moropan Tambe and Bhagirathi Sapre. Unfortunately, her mother died when she was only 4 years old.
Oh my god, that's very sad.
Yes, Manu received her education at home. She was able to read and write and was more independent in her childhood than the other girls of her age. She learned shooting, horsemanship, fencing, and Malakhamba with her childhood friends Nana Sahib and Tanta Dope.
Wow, she learned shooting and horsemanship? That's amazing.
At the age of 14, she got married to Gangadhar Rao Navalkar, who was the 5th Maharaja of Jhansi. Manikarnika was called Lakshmi Bai in honor of Hindu goddess Lakshmi and according to the traditions after her marriage. She gave birth to a boy and named him Damodar Rao in 1851. Unfortunately, Damodar Rao died after 4 months.
What? Damodar Rao died after 4 months? That's very sad.
Yes, it is. Those days, British East Indian Company used to rule India. They would merge your kingdom into British territories if you die without a heir. So Rani Lakshmi Bai and Gangadhar Rao decided to adopt a boy. They adopted a child called Anand Rao, who was the son of Gangadhar Rao's cousin, and renamed him Damodar Rao. The Maharaja also died soon after that.
Maharaja died too?
Yes. The adoption was in the presence of the British political officer, who was given a letter from the Maharaja instructing that the child be treated with respect and that the government of Jhansi should be given to his widow for her lifetime. After the death of the Maharaja, the British East India Company applied the doctrine of lapse, rejecting Damodar Rao's claim to the throne and annexing the state to its territories. When Rani was informed of this, she cried out, "I shall not surrender my Jhansi."
How could they do that to her?
That's what they were doing those days. In March 1854, Rani Lakshmibai was given an annual pension of 60,000 rupees and was ordered to leave the palace and the fort.
Can you tell me more about the war between Rani and the British?
Yes, I'm going to tell you about that. Rani Lakshmibai was one of the leading warriors of India's first war of independence. She was firm on the decision not to give up the dominion of Jhansi to the British. For strengthening the defense of Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai assembled her own army of rebellions, which also included women. For this great cause, she was supported by warriors like Ghulam Ghaus Khan, Dost Khan, Khuda Baksh, Sundar Mundar, Kashi Bai, Lala Bahu Bakshi, um, Moti Bai, Diwan Raghunath Singh, and Diwan Jawahar Singh. She assembled 14,000 rebels and organized an army for the defense of the city.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, certainly it is amazing. In March 1858, when the British attacked Jhansi, Rani's army decided to fight, and the war continued for about 2 weeks.
2 weeks? That's so long.
I know. The army fought very bravely, even though Jhansi lost to the British forces. After a fierce war, when the British army entered Jhansi, Rani Lakshmibai tied her son Damodar Rao to her back and fought bravely using two swords in both of her hands. She escaped to the fortress of Kalpi under the cover of darkness and was accompanied by many other rebellions. She departed to Gwalior, and a fierce battle was fought between the British and the Rani's army. On the unfortunate day of 17 June of 1858, this great warrior martyred her life for India's freedom.
Wow, that was a great story of Rani Lakshmibai's life. I want to be brave just like her.
That's good. Namaste. As we all know that Bharat was invaded by so many countries, Portuguese was one of them. A strong Veerangana fought with this invader many times. Her name was Rani Abbakka Chauta. Let's hear what Monica Bhasin has to say about this Veerangana. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. Today I've got this golden opportunity to speak a few words in the honor of the great Veerangana Rani Abbakka. She belonged to the Chota dynasty. She was the first female freedom fighter of India. She was the first Tuluva queen of Ulal. She was crowned as queen in 1525 by her uncle. From her young age, she was trained to be a good ruler, equipped with all war strategies. Ulal was flourishing under the leadership of this great Veerangana. With the European colonialism at its peak, her kingdom caught the attention of Portuguese, but they failed to extort money from Ulal even after repeated attempts. A total of 6 attacks between 1525 and 1570 were trampled on by Rani Abbakka. With each attack she held back, Portuguese fear of the warrior queen grew stronger and stronger. In a series of retaliatory attacks that she led, Rani Abbakka managed to take back her city and the Mangalore fort from the clutches of Portuguese by killing Admiral Mascarenhas. She was like fire, unstoppable. Portuguese underestimated the strength of this 30-year-old queen and she won against them, and the Portuguese, however, were failed to defeat her many times in the innumerable attacks, and she was given the name of the Fearless Queen. But the attacks didn't end. She was skilled in diplomacy and formed an alliance with Bajipur Sultan of Ahmednagar and the Jamiron of Calicut. She was, however, betrayed by her husband, who conspired with the Portuguese to topple her from power. The Portuguese finally defeated her and was immediately imprisoned. But she still managed to do a single-handed revolt within the bars and was eventually killed in that revolt in 1570. Her legacy now lives on through memory in Dakshin Karnataka in the form of folk songs, stories, and a museum known as the Tulu Baduku Museum. The Indian Navy named an inshore patrol vessel after her. Bronze statues are erected in Ulal and Bangalore. The Veerangana Abakka Prashasti Award is an award given to distinguished women on that day. My innumerable bows of gratitude to such a fearless woman filled with courage, strength, and patriotism. Jai Hind.
Namaste. North American Hindus Association is starting a series of Bharatiya Veeranganas. Veeranganas are those Bharatiya women who contributed in their society to fight against British and other foreign rulers. They also played a huge role in the development of their country. Today, we will hear the story of Rani Durgavati by Neero Garwal.
Hello, Mama. What are you doing?
I am reading about the life history of Rani Durgavati.
Wow, it seems very cool.
Yeah,
Can
she
you
was.
tell me about her?
Yeah, sure. Come on, let's see. Rani Durgavati was born on 5th of October 1524 in the family of Chandel King Kirthrai. She was born at the fort of Kalinja, Uttar Pradesh. Kalinja was in Uttar Pradesh. And she enhanced the glory of her ancestral tradition of courage and patronage. She was very brave lady. In 1542, she was married to Dalpat Singh. Dalpat Shah, the eldest son of King Sangram Shah of Gondwana Kingdom. The Chandel and Rajkot dynasties were allied because of this marriage. This resulted in Kirat Rai gaining the help of the Gonds at the time of Muslim invasion of Sher Shah Suri. She gave birth to a son in 1545 AD who was named Veer Narayan. Dalpat Shah died in 1550 and due to the young age of Veer Narayan, Durgavati took the reins of the Gond kingdom. Diwan Vyuhar Adhar Simha and Minister Man Thakur helped the Rani in looking after the administration successfully and effectively. Rani moved her capital to Chauragarh in place of Shingogarh fort. It was a fort of strategic importance situated on the Satpura hill range. After the death of Sher Shah, Shuja Khan captured Malwa and was succeeded by his son Baz Bahadur in 1556. After ascending to the throne, Baz attacked Rani Durgavati, but the attack was repulsed. In the year 1562, Akbar the Great vanquished the Malwa ruler Baz Bahadur and then conquered Malwa, made it a Mughal dominion. Consequently, the state boundary of Rani touched the Mughal Sultanate. Rani's contemporary was a Mughal general, Khwaja Abdul Majid Asaf Khan, an ambitious man who vanquished Ramchandra, the ruler of Rewa. The prosperity of Rani Durgavati's state lured him and he invaded Rani's state after taking permission from Mughal Emperor Akbar. This plan of Mughal invasion was the result of expansionism and imperialism of Akbar. When Rani heard about the attack of Asaf Khan, she decided to defend her kingdom with all her might. Although her Diwan, Bihar Adhar Simha, pointed out the strength of Mughal forces, Rani maintained that it was better to die respectfully than to live a disgraceful life. To fight a defensive battle, she went to Nari, situated between a hilly range on one side and the two rivers Kaur and Narmada on the other side. She fought bravely. It was an unequal battle, even with the trained soldiers and modern weapons in multitude on the Mughal side, and a few untrained soldiers with old weapons on the side of Rani Durgavati. Her Faujdar Arjun Das was killed in the battle, and Rani decided to lead the defense herself. As the enemy entered the valley, Soldiers of Rani attacked them. Both sides lost some men, but Rani lost more. At this stage, Rani reviewed her strategy with her counselors. She wanted to attack the enemy in the night to enfeeble them, but her lieutenants did not accept her suggestion. By the next morning, Asaf Khan had summoned big guns. Rani rode on her elephant Sarman and came for the battlefield. Her son Veerangana also took part in his battle. In this battle, he forced Mughal army to move back 3 times, but at last he got wounded and had to retire to a safe place. In the course of battle, Rani also got injured badly near her ear with an arrow. Another arrow pierced her neck and she lost her consciousness. On regaining consciousness, she perceived that defeat was imminent. Her Mahat advised her to leave the battlefield, but she refused and took out her dagger and killed herself on June 24, 1564. Her martyrdom day is even today commemorated as Bal Divas. So she was really a brave lady.
Wow.
Would you like to know about more Veeranganas?
Yeah, I would love to know. Except,
Okay.
and also this was my project, so thank you for telling me. Now I can use it for my project.
Thank you.
Namaste. Today, on the occasion of Mother's Day, I would like to talk about India's Prime Minister's mother, Hiraben Modi. Hiraben Modi was born in the year 1920. Her hometown is in Vadnagar, Mehsana, Gujarat. Hiraben Modi belongs to the Mod Ghanchi community of Gujarat, which is considered as the other backward class by Indian government. She got married to Damodar Das Mulchand Modi, who was a tea seller. She has 5 sons named Soma Modi, a retired officer in the health department, Pankaj Modi, a clerk in information department of Gujarat government, Amrit Modi, a retired machine operator, Prahlad Modi, a shop owner, and Narendra Modi, 14th Prime Minister of India. She has a daughter named Vasanti Ben Hasmukhlal Modi. When Narendra Modi became the Chief Minister of Gujarat for the first time, Hiraben Modi advised him not to take bribes in Gujarati as Beta Kadi Lanch na leis. She used to live in her family's ancestral home in Vadnagar before her husband's death. After her husband's death, she shifted to the house of her youngest son, Pankaj Modi. Hiraben Modi made sure that her children get appropriate education and she worked very hard for it. In an interview, Narendra Modi stated that she was the pillar of his life and played a crucial role in his success. She supports Narendra Modi in his decisions as Prime Minister. In November 2019, after demonetization, she was seen standing in an ATM queue supporting her son's brave decision on banning old currency notes. Even at such a fragile age of 99, she had cast her vote in the 2019 Lok Sabha elections. Hiraben Modi has donated 25,000 rupees from her personal savings in Prime Minister Relief Account to fight against COVID-19. Hiraben Modi is a great example of an ideal mother who not only raised her 6 children in poverty, but equipped her children with good education and taught them our cultural, moral, and ethical values. Thank you.